Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be doing my first KSP commentary video. This is something I've thought about doing for a while, and I've just never had the time or thought, hey, I think I'm good enough to undertake this sort of task. But I think right now is probably the most optimal time to do this, and honestly, I mean, what can go wrong? I mean, yeah. But anyway, getting into the video, what we're going to be doing today is just going to the moon and back, and hopefully landing on the vehicle assembly building. It's something that, you know, the moon landing part, super easy. Anybody can do it, but this is my first video, and I don't know, I just want to get a feel for it, see how to do it. But I've never, I've never attempted to land on the vehicle assembly building, and it's just something I've always wanted to try because I've seen YouTubers do it, and it just looks cool, and I think you get more money back, right? But anyway, yeah. So yeah, this is our rocket. This is what we're going to be using to get to the moon and back. Here at the bottom, we've got a booster stage. We've got this third stage here that's going to lift us into orbit. Got a transfer stage, and then we've got our lander. And I made this last night, and I tested it, and everything seems to work fine. But I can get to the moon and back, and have plenty of fuel to do the landing on the vehicle assembly building. But the problem is that the stages don't work in to their respective capabilities. What I mean by that is that this booster stage down here is going to get us to about 100 kilometers per second. That's why we have the parachutes, actually, because if I don't, they're just going to slam down onto the runway and blow it up. I learned that the hard way last night. But yeah, so we can get up to about 100 meters per second with just the boosters, and then we can get this orbital stage to, our apoapse of, our periap, we're going to get our apoapse to 70 kilometers pretty easy, but we're not going to be able to complete our orbit with the stage here. Our transfer stage is going to complete our orbit, and it's going to get us partway to the moon. And then the lander stage, it has a lot more delta V than it really needs, and um, I really didn't need this much delta V if I'm just doing a moon lander, but this is able to complete the orbit, to complete the transfer, get into orbit around the moon, land, get back into orbit, come back to Kerbin, orbit Kerbin, and then land back on the vehicle assembly building. And like I said, I haven't tried the landing on the vehicle assembly building, but I'm pretty confident that I can at least do it. And I know that even if I don't do it completely right, then it doesn't matter because this craft is well more than capable of just doing a normal landing, in the water or something using the parachutes. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. And hopefully I don't mess this up because I'm trying to do this in one take. I'm talking while I'm doing this. It's not pre-recorded or anything, and I'm just hoping everything goes well. But here we are. It's nighttime. We have Jeb here in the pilot seat. Gonna turn on SAS, full throttle, and we're just gonna go. And our boosters are gonna dip down a bit before they start rising, and here we go. Our speed is just gonna increase, and we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna hold it steady and let it rise. I don't really like the tail fins here. I mean, they're kind of necessary to control the orbital part here, but I mean, I have them up here because we're going to get rid of the boosters pretty soon anyway, and it's not really going to help further in the flight, but yeah. And as a prerequisite, I should say, I'm not really that, I'm not that knowledgeable about different orbital mechanics and everything, and honestly, this isn't a tutorial, this is me just playing the game, and I have about 300 hours, and I thought, this is something that would be fun to do, and something that, I would just enjoy. And my booster stage didn't quite get me to 100 meters per second, and that's fine, but, yeah, we are a little off on our, what's it called? I don't know the terminology that well, but our orbit's a little shifted forward, or our launch is a little shifted forward as we're doing this gravity turn, and that's probably because of the weird positioning of the fins, and honestly the use of the four-way structural adapter. I've never really used it, and this isn't typically how I would build a rocket, but it's something I'm experimenting with, and as such, I'm not that familiar with it and how it controls, but yeah, yeah. So we're gonna try to we're gonna try to bring down our prograde marker a bit so that we're on an even 90 as we ascend, and it's gonna be a little inefficient, but it doesn't matter that much. So we've got our prograde locked there, just about. I'm gonna go into my map view and look at our apoapse. Doing good so far. We're just gonna burn until we are at about 70 kilometers, and from there we are just going to time warp to get to that apoapse, and then complete our orbit from there. And then we'll talk about our transfer and how to get there. Yep, so you can see we're ascending. I'm trying to hold it steady, a little behind prograde because we're trying to ascend, and I think we're going to be able to get to 70 kilometers without having to go to the transfer stage, and we're still going to have a bit left over, but yeah, about 75 right there. We're going to lock prograde to minimize drag, and we're just going to time warp until we get there. So yeah, we're a little slanted on our ascent, but it's no big deal. I mean, we're not going for like really precision here, at least not on the what's it called, the entry, or on the we're not trying to get super precise. I mean, we can always do correction burns on our transfer to the moon, but for right now it's fine, and we're gonna start burning right before our apoapse, just so that we don't overshoot too far. I'm gonna tilt the craft back a bit and try to bring our apoapse a bit forward. I think our booster stage is gonna, yep, there we go. And we are now on our transfer stage. Last time I tried this, it took about half of the transfer stage fuel to get into a circular orbit around Kerbin. But, I mean, and I'm trying to bring our apoapse a bit forward so that we can do this a little more efficiently, and, yeah, we're just going to complete our orbit. Hopefully we have enough fuel. I mean, I know we're going to have enough fuel to at least get to the moon, land, and come back to Kerbin, but I still want to have a good amount of excess fuel to, so that I have a larger margin of error when I do the ascent or descent onto the vehicle assembly building. So we're in orbit. We've used a bit more fuel than I would have liked to use, but it's okay. And from here, we're just going to use a maneuver node. If you didn't have them, the moon is on the same plane as the as Kerbin, so you can there's a angle guide on the wiki. You want to be at about 100 degrees from the moon, so let's say, you're looking here at Kerbin and you've got the moon up ahead at 12 o'clock. You want to be at about 4 o'clock when you do your burn, and you're going to get a moon encounter. It's a lot easier with maneuver nodes, but at the beginning of the game you're not going to have access to those unless you're playing Sandbox or Science Mode. I've never played Science Mode, but you definitely have it in Sandbox, and there we go, we've got a moon encounter, but we've used a lot more Delta V than I would like. About 800 looks good, and we're going to shift focus over to the moon so that we can adjust, our entry here. Alright, so just going to play around with the maneuver node a bit. Going to move it this way. Yeah, this way. And now we are just going to adjust. Excuse me. I could probably, yeah. I can use a lot less Delta V to, not a lot less, just a fractional, just a small amount of Delta V. And then we're going to do a correction burn about halfway through our transfer where we get into a stable, or we bring up our plane a bit. I know I'm not using the right terms, and honestly I'm just doing this on a whim. I've read a lot of the wiki articles, and but a lot of my knowledge about the game comes from just playing the game and watching YouTube videos, and I'm not too too knowledgeable, like I've said before, about the different orbital mechanics and such. And as such, this isn't a tutorial. I'm not telling you how to do this because I mean, there's 1,000 videos on YouTube about getting to the moon and back, and honestly, I'm just trying to have fun, and I'm just realizing I forgot to name the craft. I don't, rename vessel, we can, moon craft, and then we can just keep it a ship. There we go. About 6 minutes until our burn. We're gonna start burning a minute or so before, maybe like 30 seconds before actually, because our lander has a good amount of delta V, and we're just gonna accelerate there to get to our maneuver, and we're just gonna start burning full throttle, and we're gonna go until our transfer stage is exhausted of fuel. Like I said, we don't have as much fuel as I would like to, and maybe because my gravity turn wasn't as efficient as it should have been, but it's still all good. Hopefully we still have enough fuel to get to the vehicle assembly building, and honestly, if we don't, then it's fine. I can always, I'll just do a soft landing somewhere. I mean, we've got a parachute. It's a Mark 1 command pod. It's gonna be fine. We've got the MK6 or Mark 16 parachute. Is it Mark or is it MK? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we've got about 150 meters per second left until we get to our encounter, and then we're just gonna warp over. This is what 8 meters per second of delta V. It's nothing. We're just gonna do a slow burn here to kind of get our orbit right where we want it. There we go, and we are good. Okay, so we're gonna shift our focus to the moon so that we can correct what we need to. Maybe bring this down a bit because it's a little high. And what's our periapsis at? Yeah, we can move that a bit closer. I'm gonna go down to maybe 20,000. Yeah, now it's 16,000. That also works, but sufficiently high enough to where we don't hit anything, and also to where we can do a pretty easy landing. Mooncrafts. All right, here we go. We are leaving. We are getting close to our maneuver. About 30 minutes. It's gonna time warp. And you'll notice I'm not quick saving. I really should be. I have a pretty bad habit of not quick saving when I should. And, there's nothing really you can do about it. Or, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. It just life, you're not gonna have the quick save. You're just gonna have to deal with it as it comes. And, yeah. But, no, I mean, I do use quick save a lot when I'm doing, new missions that I haven't done before, such as, like, interplanetary things and stuff like that, where I'm prone to overshooting the like encounter and stuff like that because I'm just going through it, because time warping is a pain when you get out to like 3 years of waiting for an intercept or whatever. We're just gonna lock on the retrograde here and start burning. We're gonna bring our apoapse down, and we're gonna try to land in this crater right here. The moon's gonna rotate a bit, so we're gonna put our apoapse a bit further. Or we're gonna put our periapse a bit further, and just like a bit in front of the crater. There we go. We're gonna probably land on the it's not gonna rotate that much. It's gonna be still about right there, but we've got to do that retrograde burn to kill our velocity. And yeah, I'm gonna wait till I'm over the crater to start doing that because we can do that pretty quickly. We're going a lot faster than I would like to be going, but it's fine, really. Once we're about over the crater right now, I can start doing the retrograde burn once we get over this hill here. I'm going to time warp a bit forward. This looks like an okay landing spot here. I'm going to start burning off this velocity. It's going to take a second, but we're going to try to land in this area here because it looks relatively flat. I'm going to deploy the landing legs, and the further we get into this mission, the more I'm thinking that we are not going to have enough fuel to land on the vehicle assembly building, but it's fine. All these external fuel tanks with the spark engines, they're feeding into the main one, so even when we do decouple them, we're going to have, full fuel in this main tank here. We're just going to time warp. I overshot a bit, but we can point retrograde, and as we descend, we can just do slight burn to kill our velocity as we go down. It's not as perfect as I would have wanted it to be, but it's a landing, and you're gonna take what you get. right? Yeah. Yep, we've still got a bit of fuel in the spark engine, so we can get up, quickly, and then we can just jettison them. But so we're going to do a stable landing, get down to about 2 meters per second. As we get closer, velocity is going to go down a bit, and touchdown as slow as possible. I mean, we don't have to be careful. I mean, these are pretty solid landing legs, but it's, you still want to be careful. And here we are going to touchdown about right now. You can just cut the engine, bounce a bit. There we go. So now we have our, we've got our moon landing. We are going to EVA Jeb and, plant the obligatory flag. Toggle lights. I would take a screenshot, but I've got a million, of the moon landings, and honestly, it just doesn't feel like that big of an accomplishment anymore. Yeah, you can see my beautiful flag here. I want to believe. I love that poster. Anyway, yeah, so, landing site. I really don't know what to name these anymore, because I'm not keeping track of how many times I've landed, and sometimes I just put funny stuff on there, thinking I might come back to it later. But yeah. I didn't include a ladder because, it's a moon, no atmosphere, and, gravity's low enough to where I can just use RCS to get back onto the craft. But there isn't a lot to do here. I have a rover somewhere else, I think, on the moon. But that's beside the point. Let's see, where did I put the rover? I think I have it as a probe. Yeah, it's in the same crater. It's up here. Yeah, I have it named as a probe, even though it has a rover core, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to take off here. We're going to... Oh, crap, I forgot SAS. It's fine, though. Yeah, we're just going to burn this way and bring our apoapse up to about there. And we're going to drop these. Sorry, Moon. I'm leaving some debris. But yeah, our apoapse is about 16k. We're going to time warp there, and once we are, we're just going to burn prograde, raise our apoapse, or raise our periapse, and then get into orbit around Kerbin. We're at kind of an angle here. We might want to correct that if we do intend on landing at the vehicle assembly building, but it's something that you can pretty easily do if when you're in Kerbin orbit, especially high up, because what I intend to do is, I'm going to get a Kerbin orbit that's going to be pretty high, and then I'm going to make adjustments to the plane up there. This isn't the most efficient way to do it, definitely, but this definitely isn't the most efficient way to do it, but, you're going to take what you can, and you're going to take what you can get, but, yeah. Just throwing out a maneuver node to kind of experiment with what I can and can't do. But yeah. See, I'm not, like, as, vexed in the game as I would want to be. I mean, I have 300 hours or so, but still, you're not going to be able to get this game down in 300 hours, but this is something I'm just doing for fun, so it's not even a big deal, really. Our apoapse is moving a bit forward. We've almost got orbit around the moon, just a bit more, and there we go. There, we've got our periapse, our apoapse is going to be raising, and then we're just going to get into Kerbin sphere of influence. So, yep. We've still got a good amount of fuel, enough to get into a nice stable orbit around Kerbin. We've got a moon encounter. I don't want that, so we're going to escape out of the moon's sphere of influence and get back to Kerbin's. And here we go. We're going to time warp to our apoapse so that we can do a Hohmann-Hoffmann transfer. See, I do know that term, right? And we're going to make a slight adjustment to our plane. Can we set Kerbin as our target so we know the ascending node? Yep. Okay, so we are going to add a maneuver here to sort of stabilize our ascending and descending nodes, 36 meters per second. There we go. There we go. We're going to time warp to that maneuver so that we can correct our plane of, I'm not using the right words, but we're going to get into a flat orbit around Kerbin. And we are doing that so that we can be right on top of the vehicle assembly building when we do descend. And we're just going to burn and throttle down. Oh, I overshot a bit, but it's okay. We can just go anti-normal and correct that a bit, and 0 degrees. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to time warp back to our apoapse because we need to lower our periapse, and that's the most efficient way to do it. So we're going to bring it down to about 100 kilometers. Hopefully it doesn't use too much delta V. In fact, let me see how much it will use. About 100 kilometers. Oh yeah, it's only going to use about 100 or 200 delta V actually. Yeah, whatever. We'll bring it down to about 100k. We'll see how much fuel it uses, and we'll plan accordingly if we need to just land or if we can try to do it on the vehicle assembly building. Yeah, so 6 million, 5 million, 4, 3. Slow down a bit so that we can correct, or we can do it more precisely. We've got a station up here. It's the really bad station. I did it in one launch, but either way, yeah. Go to about 100 kilometers. 120, 110, 104. There we close enough. Okay, it's got half a tank of fuel. We're going to warp to our periapse, and we are going to lower our apoapse. We could do this over multiple series of burns, but I think for simplicity's sake, I think we should just do it in one. Our periapse is in about 8 seconds. We're just going to bring our apoapse down. It's going to be about the same amount of delta V, and I think that we will have, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to have enough to get into a stable landing at the vehicle assembly building. I'm not actually sure. I know that we have to overshoot, and I think we're going to have enough. We're going to have some fuel to overshoot a bit, or we're going to have enough fuel to do a little minor correction. But if we can just get within the vicinity of the KSC, then I think we're going to be fine, honestly. I should warp back around to my periapse. It's not going to take that long, but it's getting to a point where I've gone so far past that it's not as efficient anymore. So we're just going to warp back around. There we go. 10 minutes till our periapse, and we will be fine. We don't have that much fuel left. I mean, we definitely have enough to do a landing period, but I'm not sure if we are going to have enough to land at the vehicle assembly building. I think we're just going to have to try and overshoot and approximate to get it right about in front of there, because the planet's going to turn a slight bit before we can get there, and we're going to have to, correct for that. And then there's the atmosphere, so we're going to slow down, I think, right about there, because we have to account for the atmosphere, and hopefully the engine doesn't burn up as we are approaching the KSC. It's right over there. Maybe, come on. Hopefully we have enough drag from the atmosphere to slow us down. We've also got the... No, we're going to overshoot. I'm pretty sure we're going to overshoot. So, that's not good. Maybe I should burn a bit here. Try to burn off some velocity and slow myself down. I don't know if we can do this. We're out of fuel. We're gonna, drop our tank and the engine. Oh, I forgot the heat shield. Oh no, this isn't. Oh wait, no. No, it's right there. It's fine. Never mind. I'm just being stupid. We're gonna overshoot the KSC a bit, and honestly, that's fine. We're just gonna burn off our velocity. We're gonna go into the ocean a bit, but hey, we're pretty close, so better luck next time, I guess. Anyway, we are F. Can I do F4? Yeah. How far are we? 36. About 50 kilometers out from the KSC. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not as we're definitely not at the KSC, but I overshot a bit because I haven't done this before. I was just trying to get relatively close, but yeah, this is unsettlingly close to the surface of the water. But yeah, there we go. 6 meters per second. This is going to be a good landing, and yep, here we go, and there we go. We've landed. Now we can recover, and that's about it. No, I didn't gather any signs. Let's see how many funds total. 96.1% value. Yeah, so the recovered parts, we got 96.1 kilometer, or 96.1% of the value of the parts back. So there we go. Um, Although the overall ship did cost about a little under 40, or yeah, 40,000. So the amount we got back is, nothing compared to what we spent. But hey, Jab was fine, and we're done. We can just recover, or actually, one part, 6 stages. I'm gonna fly these, see if the fuel tanks landed as they should have, because I've never witnessed them land like like I intended. I don't see the fuel tanks, but they are not on the runway. So honestly, that's a win in my book. And the runway is still, or not the runway, but the launch pad is still intact. And honestly, that's a win in my book. So yeah, but uh, that's honestly about it. That was my moon landing, and I know this is kind of, like sloppy and weird, but it's not meant to be a tutorial, and maybe I'll do more in the future where I have more of a, plan on what I'm going to do, but this was more just, me having fun and doing something that I enjoy. But yeah, that's about it, and bye.